Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1762, and today's date is January 10th, 2019, and the title of the episode is The Deep State Central Bank Mainstream Media Didn't See This Coming, Patriots in Control. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about Trump. You might have heard in the news that President Trump is withdrawing 2,000 of our boys and girls out of Syria. Just a while ago, he took an 11-hour flight in darkness and total secrecy to go out to Iraq with First Lady to visit the troops there. He said, "We're no longer the sucker, folks," was his storming declaration. With President Trump, you get what you see, and that's what we love about him. He delivers. So does Noble Gold. They put together this stunning solid silver coin to underline that great job he's doing, with highlights of his achievement to date and a portrait on the front. Any Trump supporter would be crazy about one of these. Go to TrumpCoin2020.com and use the code X22 to get free shipping. This is a $6.50 savings. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, what's very interesting is that the mainstream media is out there, and we've been talking about this. They are saying a recession is coming in the year 2020. And they're saying that growth is going to slow in 2019, and we're going to head into a recession on 2020. When was the last time you heard the mainstream media all together at the same time say there was going to be a recession in the exact year that they're all reporting? I mean, it's not like one says, oh, in 2022, the other one says 2021. They're all saying the exact time period. This is a coordinated effort. They're working together because they think they have control over the Fed. They think the Fed is working with them. But something happened today where it shows the Fed is not working with them. The Fed is not on the same side. And we'll be discussing that in a little bit. But first, let's go out to the Brexit here. And it looks like the MPs right now, they voted to limit the government's ability to use the threat of a no-deal Brexit to force the MPs into backing May's deal. So what was happening is the same thing that always happens. The elite, they threaten. The central banks, they threaten. You better do this or else this is going to happen. And it looks like the MPs voted to limit the government's ability to use this type of threat. May is in trouble right now. And it looks like she might cave on concessions. And do I think that this deal is going to pass? At this point, I don't think so. And remember, the EU, they said, listen, this is the deal. And if you don't take this deal, there is no other deal. And once again, the central banks were threatening to shut down everything. Everything would fall apart if you don't take their deal. Now, a couple people have been writing in, and they said something very interesting. That this might have been, the Brexit I'm talking about, might have been the beginning of the Patriot plan to bring down the central bank system. Now, this could be where, again, people were voting to separate themselves from the central bank. This is the beginning stages. The central banks, when they were having the vote, saying, this is not going to work. People really want to be with the EU. They'll never vote, the country away from the EU. And the whole thing backfired. And at that time, the EU was threatening, saying that if you do this, then the whole entire system is going to fall apart, which it didn't. This might be the beginning stages. And as we can see, all around us, the central bank growth globally is slowing dramatically. They knew this from a long time ago. They propped it up so they could have their event. But they don't have their event, so they're exposed right now. That is the biggest problem. The central bank's collapse of their global economy is exposed to the world, and they're trying to figure out a way to cover it up. They had a plan. The plan went down the tubes. Now, we're seeing here in the United States the people's economy where, people go out, they make money, they save money, and then they buy things, which makes up about 72% of GDP. We're starting to see that the holiday season isn't as great as everyone was saying. Macy's right now, they're in trouble. Kohl's, they are in trouble. May's reported that November, December, their sales, we're were only up 0.7%. They missed expectations. And Macy's plummets after cutting their guidance. Kohl's is doing the same thing. Remember, the everyday person is not getting wage increases. The everyday person doesn't have that high-paying job. The everyday person has 1, 2, 3 part-time jobs. Think about during the last recession, 2008. Obama came in. They created this gigantic illusion. A lot of people lost their jobs, and they were taking part-time jobs. A lot of people were in jobs, and their wages were frozen. Trump comes in and says, okay, we're going to have to, restart this economy. We're going to have to bring manufacturing back. We have to get rid of the globalist stuff. We got to get rid of everything that they've done. Now, it's completely impossible for him to get everyone a job right now. Even though the unemployment numbers say 3.7, 3.9, whatever they are, they're completely fake, phony, and false. He's using the manipulation that they used. So those people today still have those low-paying jobs. They're still struggling. But when we look around the globe and we look at the central bank system, it is falling apart everywhere. We talked about automobiles. Well, sales are declining everywhere throughout Europe, the United States, China. They're really feeling it right now. Their auto sales, they have fallen quite a bit. If we look at this, we can see that retail sales of passenger vehicles, which include sedans, MPVs, minivans, SUVs, they fell 19% in 2018 in China. Europe is experiencing the same thing. The United States is experiencing the same thing. Ford is going to cut thousands of European jobs, close factories in a major restructure. Ford is going to be bringing back some jobs here to the United States, which is good news. But is this going to help the economy? No, it's a couple of hundred jobs. It's not going to boost the economy like we've never seen before. What we're seeing right now is that all these automobile manufacturers that were riding the fake wave, it's all coming to an end. Growth is slowing globally right now. People are living on credit. The world has too much debt. This cannot be sustained. Now, it's very interesting, and we started off with this, where the mainstream media, they are talking about a recession in 2020. And a couple of reports ago, we showed all the different articles from different mainstream media outlets, and they're all coordinated. They're all saying the exact same thing. Now, if we go back to 2008, when the mainstream media and the Fed were synced, we didn't have the mainstream media going, hey, by the way, 2008, there's a recession coming. And you didn't see this on all the different mainstream media stations. You didn't see it in the newspapers. They weren't calling for a recession in 2008. Yes, you might have some financial pundits out there saying, I believe something's going to happen in 2008. I remember Peter Schiff saying this, and I remember a bunch of economists around him laughing at him. Bernanke at the time was saying that there was no recession. Now, you would think that Jerome Powell from the Fed would sync up to the mainstream media, which is the deep state. They would expect this. They've been protecting the Federal Reserve for a very long time. But Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell came out and said that there's going to be no recession in 2019 or going into 2020. He doesn't see it happening. Actually, Trump's advisors said the same thing. They don't believe there's going to be a recession. Now remember, what do they consider a recession? When do they call it? Remember, Trump has the magic wand. He has the ability to keep the statistical numbers, the stock market up. Yes, the economy might be sliding in the background, but he has the ability to make it look like everything is great. When Obama was running back in 2008, the market came down, and Obama took control of the elections at that time because McCain was saying that the economy was very, very strong. the market came down, which signaled that there was something wrong in the background. And there was something wrong way, way back before the market came down. But Powell, he's saying that he's very worried about global growth slowing. He thinks China has another year of solid growth. And he even came out and said the following, that if there is an extended shutdown, it would have an impact on the economy that would show up in the data very clearly. Now, we know that this is not going to show up in the data very clearly because the data is completely fake, phony, and false. He's reassuring everyone that they're looking at the data and they're monitoring the shutdown to make sure that everything is fine. The economy really doesn't care much about the shutdown. Yes, there are many federal employees that are not getting paid. But the millions and millions and millions of people that are out there in the United States, they're not working for the federal government. So what is happening here is the deep state is not in sync with the Fed anymore. And I still believe that Trump is controlling Powell. And he can make Powell raise the interest rates. He can make them not raise their interest rates, depending on what he wants to do. Already, the Fed is saying, listen, we might not raise the rates until later in 2019. Instead of 3 times, we'll do 2 times. Now, Trump might be doing this because, as we know with Q, they were planning to bring down the economy in the year 2020, which is the mainstream media is reporting about. He might be telling the Fed right now, listen, hold off. Let's slow this up because we don't want this thing to come down during that period. And I need a little bit more time to make these deals with China and everything else. Remember, he can make this economy do whatever he wants. Does this mean we're not going to be going through a transition? No, this means we are going to be going through a transition because he has full control. I don't believe they want everyone to feel the pain the way the mainstream media, the deep state, would have everyone feel the pain. And everything that they're saying, he's going to do the opposite. They're talking about the economy not doing well. He's going to show the economy doing well. They're talking about a recession. He's going to show that there is no recession. So everything that they're doing is going to be the complete opposite of what Trump is going to do. Remember, the deep state, the mainstream media, they thought they were in control of this economy. They are not. And they're going to be shocked to see that they are not in control of this whole thing. Remember, Q has already told us that they already know the plan, and they planned for this. Now, are they going to come out and say, hey, by the way, Trump is in control of Powell. He might slow up the interest rates so this doesn't come down? No. This is all happening behind the scenes, and they want the deep state, they want the mainstream media to believe that they are in control. But we can see what's happening throughout the world. Everything is starting to shut down. And Trump and the Patriots, they're moving very, very quickly to bring us into this transition. They're getting rid of all the globalist deals. They're trying to bring back manufacturing. They're trying to change regulation. They have tax laws in place, and they're pushing the agenda very, very hard to bring this entire system out of a central bank system and into something completely new. And yes, people are going to get hurt. Yes, some people are not going to be able to weather the storm. But for the most part, they're going to try to make it as easy as possible for the American people. So everyone needs to be ready and prepared because we will be going through a transition. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.